What is up, besties? And welcome to a Thursday edition of the Let's Build the LEGO UCS Republic Gunship. I've got a little bit of a change in the setup today because it's gotten way bigger. And joining me is my podcast co-host on This Is the Way Seekers, Austin. How are you?
Hello. I'm excited to be here. I'm good. How are you?
Well, we kind of talked about this already, but tonight I am drinking a bubbly instead of a liquid death, and it's still good, but like it's not as flavorful, and the can's so much smaller, and I'm just like, there's no electrolytes in it.
Didn't come through.
No, they haven't come through yet. Exactly. Well,
where's the lifetime supply?
Honestly, because I tried to get some at Target today, and they had, like, none. They had regular sparkling and... oh, God, what was the other one? And no sparkling at all. It was, like, sparkling and then just, like, mountain water. And I was like, I don't want no fucking mountain water. I want some mango chainsaw.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Well, bestie, that's what happens when you live in a queer area. So, the liquid death gonna be out of stock.
You know how it is. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Star Wars Sublay. I hope you're doing well as well. I saw...
Hello.
What did you... I saw, Star Wars Sublay, you put out a video this morning because I could not sleep for the life of me. And I think it was similar to what we kind of joked about in our last podcast episode, Austin, talking about Thrawn dying at some point.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Star Wars Sublay, but I'm pretty sure it was something about when is Thrawn gonna die. Oh, let me say hi to Amy really quick. I see her in the chat. Hello, Misa Mores. I have to go to sleep soon because I'm off to Casablanca in about 7 hours. Well, I'd much rather you be there than here. Like, if I had the choice, as much as I love building Legos in Austin, as much as I love hanging out and chatting with you and everybody in the chat, I'd rather be on vacation.
Right. Oh, for sure.
But
yeah, if Thrawn's gonna die soon, that's super unfortunate. But I looked up after the podcast when I made like the short from the podcast of that moment.
Yeah.
That you were right on Wikipedia. Granted, it is Legends, but it did say that they only lived to like 70 to 80 years old, and he's like 60 or whatever. Star Wars Sublight says, you got it. A French channel did a great interview with Thrawn's original author, Timothy Zahn, and he's dropping hints all over the show. Interesting.
I want to check
that out.
Hello,
Tet. Yeah, now I'm going to have to watch Star Wars Sublight's video.
And then we'll have to consult with the lovely MJ Chimera Chat and see her take on it all.
Hopefully she comes in here. I could ask her to join and be like, let us know.
Hi, Tet.
Sublight says, just watching you with a pint before catching a flight. Life's good. Ooh, everybody's traveling. Where are you going?
Everybody but us.
I know. Here we are.
We're slaving away on YouTube instead.
Yep. Still here. Well, I hope everybody enjoys their vacations. If you ever need a +1, let me know.
For real. Me too.
I'm available anytime.
Did I already fuck up?
I don't know. By the way, you got your new piece, right? Since the last stream.
Yes, I did. I can't really show it though. I mean, I guess I can try. I know I'm gonna mess something up. I'm not gonna do it. And I already fucked up these pieces.
Was it a pain in the ass to get the piece where it needed to be after you already did like a whole other live stream building over it?
No. Let me show. So it's like inside of here, and it's this little piece, and okay, you're right. Thinking back to it now, it was a little bit of a pain in the ass to get in. I had to take apart a couple things, but I did it successfully. I didn't mess anything up. I didn't break anything, so we're all good to go for now.
Well, there you go.
How do we like the view, by the way?
I think it looks good. But I've been suggesting that view since you started the Lego streams.
I know, and this is what I did last time. It was just weird building BD1 like almost like he was dead. Like he's just laying down. I tried to lay him down so you could see like all the pieces and the parts better, because like this aerial view of the gunship, like this isn't cute. Like nobody wants to see this. They want to see this. Look at them big guns.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
I'm never saying that again.
This Tetsuo Pink person says, I'm new to this channel. Does the builder use their teeth to take Legos apart? Well, first of all, thank you for tuning in for the very first time, Tetsuo Pink. We're very excited to have you here. Second of all, we like to use our toes here rather than our teeth. You
have to pay for them, though, if you want them on camera.
Yes. Yes. Hello, May. How are you? Yeah, I've definitely seen them nibble a few pieces. Yeah, that was in the past. But we're moving on, turning a new leaf. Our ancestors, they grew toes, these really strong toes for us, and passed them down from generation to generation. I feel like it's very useful to use them.
Okay.
For something like Legos.
Speak for yourself.
But you're the one building, and I saw you take them apart with your toes.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna show this on camera because y'all can see the book now. Doesn't this piece look... Oh, it looks blue because the lighting. This piece looks gray, but I have no gray pieces, so I have this white one here. But it doesn't seem right. It's not right. It's too long. We're not starting on a good note.
I think that Lego set instructions have become more confusing over time. Or maybe I just became less good at them. But I never had these problems when I was building those fire trucks and stuff when I was younger. I never had these problems. But now when I build a Lego set, I'm like, fuck.
Well,
where's there supposed to be?
Are you building
7 extra pieces?
Are you building adult Legos, or are you building like kid sets? Because like this set, I'm pretty sure says it's like 18 plus. This is a mature set. And like, well, it's the UCS one, so the Ultimate Collector's Edition, which is why it's so gigantic and also so expensive. So
yeah,
it is more in depth, but
I do not have adult Legos because I don't have adult Lego money. But I've built some. I feel like I've built like the TIE Fighter. What's that? Probably 13 plus.
About my age range. When I was at Target earlier today, I was looking to, because I was like, well, I'm just gonna check and see if they have any new sets that like maybe I'll want. Maybe if it's just like a little one, you know, because this is fun. This is relaxing. But then I was like, it's all the same ones. The only one that like really interests me that's still there is the BD1, but I already have BD1. So I'm not going to get another BD1. But every time I see it, I'm like, oh, BD1. Because he just sits back there now.
Yeah. I want the new Ahsoka sets. The Ghost and Ahsoka's starship. I want all of it.
The Ghost is super expensive too, isn't it?
It's like over $100. I think Ahsoka's was like $80, and those ships that weren't even in the show, I don't even know how much they were, but probably 60.
Hold on, what is Tat saying? Austin, do you know about the Rogue One character Gate Wink?
I don't know.
No, that's another one of those. Loud. God damn it! I hate y'all.
That's why I didn't want to say it out loud. But
and Star Wars Sublight says, I think he was apprenticed to Master D's.
Yes.
What is Master D's supposed to be? Or is this a thing where like it works in your accent but not in mine? I can't. Y'all are bad. Also, I'm sorry, May. I saw that. I heard Austin say hi to you, and I was in the middle of unbuilding, like undoing my set because I fucked up. So I hope you're doing well. What's everybody up to? Is anybody doing anything in Austin, or are you doing anything for Halloween? Oop, Austin's frozen. We will wait. Not frozen in carbonite. Well, anybody in the chat that's watching, what is everybody doing this weekend for Halloween, if anything? Oh, are you back now?
Am I back? Nothing went wrong for me, so I don't know what happened.
Oh, yeah, you were
like I could hear everything and nothing was like pixelated or anything. So
no, it's okay.
I was confused.
We're as a viewer, how exciting things can be when you freeze up. I was just like, I hope it's not me. But
no, I think it was me because I had the stream open. Instead of just the chat, so I was like, let me close that out because probably taking up a lot of power.
But yeah, are you doing anything, Austin, for Halloween?
No. No.
Not
it's
in
on a Tuesday.
Not in Sin City.
Nope. I was gonna go to Ohio and then stay till Thanksgiving, but I was just there. I was like, let me wait. I don't feel like just going back immediately.
Yeah, I get that. I'm sure it's well, and we've talked about this off air too, but like, you have your whole setup there with you in Vegas, so like wanting to be productive is a lot easier when you're at your actual setup.
Yep. And I've been working on videos and trying to get some out, as you know, so
well,
been doing better than I was in Ohio, which was doing nothing. So
I mean, sometimes it's like that. I completely get it. I didn't put out a video last week and I felt really bad about it, and then I was like, but I've got a really fun one coming. So, and I'm sure everybody already saw on Twitter or social media, whatever app, I'm putting out a video tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time about my top 10 scariest aspects of Star Wars, and I'm very excited about it because, like, those who already know, but those who don't, I'm a spooky bitch. And so I'm excited to talk about the spooky things in Star Wars, and there was surprisingly a lot more than I realized, and I'm sure you, Austin, you've heard this, and everybody in the chat's heard this before, but everybody's like, ooh, would horror work in Star Wars? That's always a question that I hear proposed. And I kind of think it would, because there's a lot more spooky and just like dark shit that happens in Star Wars already. And I'm like, we've kind of seen a bit of horror, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, when you said that you're doing like, what's it, like top 10, I was like, I didn't even know there was 10 spooky things in Star Wars, but hey. And that's why I'm excited to see the video, because I feel like you're gonna bring things up and I'll be like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Like,
exactly. That's the whole point. And like I said, there was so much that I did not think of originally either, as I was trying, because I was like, oh, I want to make a video, and we had talked about it before. I was like, Force Ghosts and Zombies. Then I was like, what else is like spooky in Star Wars? And then I just kept coming up with things, and I was like, oh, there's this, oh, and there's that, and then there's that, and I was like, I could make a very nice sized video about this instead of a much smaller one like I originally thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I'm excited I love spooky stuff in Star Wars. Showed you today, like 2 years ago, produced a spooky story in Star Wars.
Yes.
So I agree. There's like lots of cool things to see in Star Wars. Ted says the scariest Star Wars thing is that puppet, the homophobic puppet. Have you heard anything about this, Scotty?
The homophobic puppet. I feel like I have, but I can't recall like what exactly it is, but it's ringing a bell. Ted, if you want to enlighten us so we're aware. Star Wars Sublight.
Well, I know the story.
Oh, you know the story? You want to tell me then?
it's an age old story. But it kind of like came up recently. I actually plan to make a whole video about this. I would love to make a video about this. But okay, so essentially a year ago, there was on TikTok a puppet that made Star Wars videos.
Oh
right?
God, that sounds
Like
terrifying.
a Muppet puppet, like a talking like puppet person behind it, and it was
Oh
like
no, you just
purple.
wait. Just wait. Disney owns the Muppets now, don't they? I could see us getting some crazy Muppet Star Wars thing.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Like in the style of the Haunted Mansion one they released recently. Love that.
Mhm.
But this puppet, it wasn't a homophobic puppet yet. Well, it was, but
We
not
didn't
known
know.
to us. Yes. He would make like videos like talking about like just random lore. A lot of people would ask him questions like if something popped up in like Kenobi, oh, let's go ask the Muppet on TikTok, and he would respond. And he had like this weird voice. His name was Star Wars Dinks, by the way.
Hold
And
on.
then
I'm gonna pause you really quick. Look how long this thing is already.
damn,
This is why
damn.
this is why we got
I
the
didn't realize
aerial
it was
view
that
now.
big.
I know. That's why I had to switch the view up. Continue. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Oh no, you're good. So Star Wars Dinks, basically, on his Instagram, he had like his real name or whatever in the username, but for some reason it was still the Star Wars Dinks account. But someone looked that account up on Facebook,
Oh God.
and it was not good. Lots of oh, gay marriage was just the start. It's a slippery slope. Talking about like being against Black Lives Matter. Like he like was,
Oh, he's racist
responding
and
to
homophobic. Is he also misogynistic? 'Cause
Yes.
that's like the trifecta.
I'm sure. I'm sure. He was like responding to all these, like he would repost these videos of like people getting arrested at the protests and whatnot. I was like, whew, like he was talking about it's a good thing, like and being like anti-vax, talking about like
Oh God.
like being super against like government assistance and whatnot. So all of this got exposed on like TikTok, and
So he
makes
was
this
a
video.
conservative fuck.
Yes, a conservative fuck, absolutely. And basically, he makes this video. He comes back. He's talking about I'm being attacked, and I need your help.
Oh God.
Because mind you, it hadn't gotten like out there like too much. It was just like very few people talking about it at the time. He's like, I'm being attacked because I'm a Christian and I'm being attacked. And so all these people saw his video and were like coming to his defense, like, oh, you fucking Star Wars TikTokers always against us Christians, us oppressed Christians. And then the stuff started to like come out, and then he deleted his whole account, right? It
Rip.
was funny at the time because it's just like Star Wars TikTok puppet. Now he's fucking homophobic. No one knew. Now he's gone. What the fuck happened? Why was there even a Star Wars puppet in the first place? But then jump forward to a year later, to about like 2 weeks ago,
Oh God.
people started getting recommended videos on their For You page of Star Wars Dinks.
Oh
But
God.
he's rebranded as a Christian conservative puppet account, and he just talks about being Christian, and he made all these videos talking about, and I do think you deserve hell and all this stuff. And it was
Woo!
like, well, so that's the story of Star Wars Dinks. And you know what's so funny is all the other puppets on TikTok, which I didn't even know there was like a whole community of them.
I didn't know either.
They all gotta come out. And distance themselves. They're like, we do not stand with Star Wars Dinks. Like one of them had a baseball bat, was talking about, if you're talking about the gay agenda, just come back here real quick. And he had like a bat. I'm like, oh my
I
God,
like that one.
what type of Sesame Street is this?
TikTok is wild.
Yeah. I was like, there's nothing else like that. Like that just couldn't happen on Instagram, you know?
Very true. I had no idea there was a whole puppet thing on TikTok, but you know I don't get on TikTok like that. Everybody that's in this chat, y'all all follow me on TikTok, and you know I post like once every like 4 weeks, if that. So I get on, I post, and then I get off.
Yeah, like a year ago I was super active on TikTok, but now I only post on the Wayseekers account.
Which everybody should go
Mason.
follow as well if you haven't already. So
Yes.
at Wayseekers Pod, that's our podcast, and it's a lot of this. Except we have an outline when we do that. Tonight we're just chilling.
Yes. See you, Star Wars Sublight. Have a good night, and thank you.
Oh,
for
bye,
stopping
Star Wars
by.
Sublight. Enjoy your vacation.
Yes.
Thank you for coming and hanging
indeed. May says, last Halloween I got basically doxxed by a Hayden Christensen fan account for me posting without their name, their
Ooh.
wild Christian things like Halloween being evil. And she posted my info was bad.
out. Well,
What the hell?
she's right. Halloween is evil, but that's why we love it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh hell no. For weird.
For those who aren't aware, Ben, great person, love them. They posted about this musical group. I think it's called Twin Temple, and I've been obsessed. It's like rockabilly satanic music. Like it's just like it's like your 50s rockabilly music, but like they sing about like very like stereotypical like satanic themes and stuff. Like it's all it's not a parody, it's not a joke. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but
Satire?
yeah, it's like very satirical, but it's the music's really good, and I've been kind of obsessed with them.
Oh yeah. I never heard of them, but I'm gonna
If you need
what's your
more,
word?
if you need more Halloween music, because as Ben said, they were like, instead of listening to "This Is Halloween" 300 times, here's some good Halloween music, and I'm like, oh, perfect.
Right. Ooh.
This is complicated. Oh, y'all can't even see it on camera. They got me putting all these little pieces in over here, and I'm like, I don't do this Lego. This is the adult Lego I was talking about earlier.
Yo, that's that stuff I don't understand.
This isn't like cute. This is like the inside workings of the ship.
You have a poem, Tet? Where's your poem? I don't see it.
Oh,
I keep having gay mirages. They come to me as I roam through the sea of sands in the dunes of New Mexico. They are vivid but fleeing like the desert wind. Sounds like Dune.
what?
Like Zendaya's monologue at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, maybe it is. I saw earlier too. I think it was Jorge Castro popped in and said hello. So hello to you too. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Oh, and Anakin
Hello.
Skywalker, the chosen one.
Hello.
Hey, that's the only religion I support. Oh, I guess I don't really support the Jedi because they indoctrinate people. I celebrate the Force. Just like the universe in the real world.
Hell yeah. Yep, because everybody got the Force.
True.
They really hit that over our head
Well,
recently.
So here's the thing about that though, and this is the arguing point. Oh god, the top of my head was probably just in the camera. I am so sorry, y'all. But they always said like, oh, from the beginning, George Lucas always said everybody can feel and tap into the Force, and I feel like he did not make that clear in his works, at least in the movies. So I had never really heard that was a George Lucas thing before, but I guess it is.
Yeah, I think people...
Oh, I'm sorry. In George's Star Wars.
I think people really took like Obi-Wan saying the Force surrounds all living things, as like everyone has the Force. I don't know. I get what they're going for with like the door, and everyone can open the door. Some people's doors wide open, some people's doors shut. I don't know. I don't know. Um, I think everyone being able to tap into the Force is fine. Like that's fine. Um, it's just it's just when it comes from a character like Sabine, where it's like so out of left field, it felt weird. But honestly,
Yeah.
I was cheering at the end when she grabbed the lightsaber.
Me
So
too.
who am I to really talk?
You
But I
and
was just like this,
you and I both.
like, and I think what's especially jarring too is like I feel like Dave Filoni is such a tease. You know, he
Yeah.
loves to foreshadow and everything. So I'm just like,
Where
if
was this
Sabine was supposed to
foreshadowing?
be force sensitive before, we would have gotten some hints here and there. And oh, you could say she wielded the dark saber, but then does that mean Bo-Katan should be force sensitive now too?
Oh God.
And Din
You
Djarin.
you know what? Din Djarin definitely isn't. He don't even know what a Jedi is, and he can't wield the sword. We all saw him struggle, being like, "Oh, it's so heavy." Are you a Jedi?
Right.
But I love Bo-Katan. I love her so much. The reason I like Mando season 3 is because I love Bo-Katan, and it was the Bo-Katan show. But
Right.
don't make her have the Force, please. She can be a badass. She don't need it.
Everybody's gonna have the force. That's gonna be the big movie in the end. Everybody's gonna tap into the force, and they're gonna
After
lift Thrawn into the sky and
Well-
put him into the sun.
Well, and then Palpatine will come back for the new Jedi Order movie too, and everybody will have to team up and use the Force. I can't get the shit in here.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Oh my gosh, Tat in these names. Tat in these names.
Hold on,
Um,
let me see here.
if you want to read it out loud, you feel free.
Well, hold on, Ted said, Scotty, do you think there should be Jedi denominations like the one Mike? No, I'm not saying that. Started on Lothal. See, I'm not getting sucked into this. I know Mike Hunt,
You almost did. You almost did.
but I don't know Mike Litteris. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know her.
Did you know in Star Wars there actually is a real character named Deez though?
Yes.
Like, I think it's
I think
from
so.
the Thrawn books, but I'm not sure. But Jin could have used it to blow up the Death Star and save everyone and kiss Andor, man. Used what?
The Force. Well, Galen Erso could have used the Force too. Galen Erso used the Force to build the Death Star because he had to tap into it to make the Kyber crystal work.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Let me stop.
true.
Let me stop.
Well, Lyra Ursa was supposed to be force sensitive in original drafts,
That's true.
but they didn't want the audience to be wondering the whole time, like, oh, does that mean Jin is force sensitive? You know?
And that's exactly what we would have done. That's exactly what would have happened.
Yeah.
Because you and I both know. I mean, we like to speculate and talk about stuff, but it's the whole fandom. And if they did that, everybody would have been like, well, if her mom was force sensitive, why couldn't Jin use the Force? Why didn't Jin do this? Why didn't Jin do that? You know what I mean? It would just end up being that.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I wouldn't have. I don't know. I mean, there's still the Kyber crystal, so like they still kept the roots and whatnot, but I don't think it would have. It wouldn't really serve the story anyways.
No.
Like, I really like that Rogue One felt very disconnected. Besides like Vader, it was like the first project that felt super grounded. You know what I mean?
I don't know how.
Without the Jedi.
I don't know how Crystal and I didn't really talk about this last week because we both love Rogue One. But like, I love Rogue One so much. It's one of my favorite. It might be my favorite Star Wars movie at this current point in time. No, Attack of the Clones. Everybody knows I love Attack of the Clones. Mm-hmm. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You're not changing my mind. But I also love Rogue One as well. And I agree. It definitely stands on its own. And, like, I feel even some people said, oh, you know, the Darth Vader thing was, like, fan service and whatever. But I thought it kind of made sense with the story because we know what happens exactly afterwards. And Darth Vader was there. It wouldn't really make sense for, like, him to just light speed across the galaxy to go ahead and chase the Tantive. So, I don't know.
Tantive?
That's how you say it. That's the real way to say it.
No.
It is.
Who told you that?
George Lucas.
Oh my god.
Google it. Google it.
It's Tantive 4. Literally, I've seen the Rise of Skywalker documentary so many times, and they're like, when we brought back Leia's ship, the Tantive 4, and then like they're all excited about it, and it's a whole thing.
I'm telling
you,
the
most iconic.
Google it. It's Tantive. It's weird.
Well, first of all, I doubt that that's like a thing because in Star Wars, there's no official pronunciations for like anything.
Okay,
so
I'll give you that.
May says it feels like the most iconic Vader scream moment before Kenobi 2. Like it was a gift. Yeah. I just remember being like, why is anybody only focusing on the Darth Vader scene? Like there was so much more at the time.
Oh my gosh. When it re-released in theaters before Andor, and I know I've told you this before, Austin, but I don't know how much I've talked about it online. I like sobbed 3 times at least while I was watching it. Like, oh my god, it was so good. Like, I started sobbing when Jin is like getting the message, like playing it back on Jeddah, and like I started sobbing when she was sobbing, and he's like, I love you, Jin, my Stardust, blah blah blah, and I'm like, yeah, I love it. And then when he like dies, you know, I think I almost started crying there. I got and almost started crying when they were doing what is that scene? I guess where they're like contemplating and arguing whether or not they should go to Scarif, like the rebellion. You know, some of the senators are like, no. Jin's like, rebellions are built on hope, or whatever the fuck she says. And I started almost crying there. I started crying when all the fucking fleet that did decide to come shows up at Scarif. Like, I was like, I was not prepared to cry this much just going to see this movie, but I guess this is my life.
I didn't really feel it until K2SO, because that to me was like dogs dying in the movies, you know, like oh no, like 30 people died before him, oh no, but not the droid. Like it was sad in the way he's like, oh, in the book too, the novelization, it basically says that K2SO in his last moments put on this like simulation of Cassian and Jin living and getting off and living a life, and it made him happy, it made him feel comfortable in his final moments, and then he let go.
That's really confusing. What do you mean he like put forth a vision?
Like for himself, like he imagined.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, like now droids feel the Force too?
No, like he put on like a simulation in his head of like Cassian.
Oh, because they can't say like, oh, he imagined, because he doesn't have a mind. He is like a computer.
Right.
So yeah, okay, that makes sense why they'd say a simulation. Damn, I can't get this shit in.
Yeah. Hello, Eric. Cloud in the building.
Hi, Eric.
Hello.
Oh my god, I just saw Tet say that's how it's pronounced in George's Star Wars.
Oh my god.
I hate how certain phrases are like coined that like I can't say without cringing, like George's Star Wars and George's Star Wars. God.
Especially with a lot of people that say that, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, like, I really liked Qui-Gon going into being super obsessed with the what's the what
Midichlorians.
what is the prophecy? The
Mm.
prophecy in Master and Apprentice, right? He's like super obsessed with it, and they'll be like talking about character traits from that book, and how he like kind of discovered the prophecy and whatnot, and like had all these questions about it. That is a book that was released in the Disney era, written by Claudia Gray. Like, what are you talking about, George Lucas's Star Wars? Like, people just say whatever they like. They're like, that's George Lucas's Star Wars right here. This Legends book, it's George's Star Wars.
I mean, you know, something that people don't like to bring up is that George Lucas hated Mara Jade. But, you know, everybody's like, when's Mara Jade coming back? When's Mara Jade coming back? Well, in George's Star Wars, she don't exist.
Right. Right. But lots of people have all types of copes around that.
And that's...
And all that stuff.
I mean, that's fine. I don't have a problem with Mara Jade. I don't really know her as a character because I didn't read, like, the EU stuff. But I know people love her, so...
Mm-hmm. She's cool. I think the aspect that George doesn't like is just her being Luke's wife. I don't think in George's Star Wars that Luke ever gets married.
Honestly, why would he? He's like our little asexual, like, Jedi Master.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I gotta let my cat out. She's like screaming, crying.
You're good. We can't hear it, so that's a plus. Not Ted saying I liked Phasma in George's Star Wars. Oh no, your bug bites, Eric. That sucks. Hopefully they're not that bad. I don't know what it is. I guess I don't have sweet blood because I never really get bug bites. Either I don't get bug bites or they just don't really bother me. Hi, Blue.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Blue.
Jorge said same with Revan. I love the character, but the fandom around it turns me off a bit. I get that.
Yeah.
Revan's a tricky one because, like, the fanboys are like, Revan, he was amazing. And it's like, well, Revan doesn't have a canonical gender. So there's that.
Revan is non-binary.
Revan's our non-binary representation that we've made for ourselves.
Yeah.
I know SWOTOR, isn't that how they say it? I don't know. Star Wars The Old Republic, the MMO, they made Revan a man, and people were not happy about that. But technically that game is not canon. But Revan is canon. Right. Revan just doesn't have a canonical gender. And I'm very pro making Revan non-binary. I don't know, as a non-binary person, why that never crossed my mind. But I was like, no, Revan is a man or a woman. And I'm like, oh, he can be neither.
No.
Or they can be neither.
Yes.
Or, you know, whoever. I love it.
Yes, we need it. And it would piss off so many people, and we would be able to enjoy Revan.
Yes.
Like, fuck y'all. This is our Revan. You can have yours over there.
You can have your
the one
little...
meant for the boys.
You can... Yeah, you can have the boys' Revan. This is the queers' Revan. In Georgia's Star Wars.
Honestly, you know what I think is funny? If George was in charge of Star Wars right now, I bet you there would probably be more queer characters in Star Wars than there are now. Because George was pretty anti-Hollywood and was like against like the status quo, and he didn't care about criticizing you know, the institutions and anything in his movies. And so I really think that
door. I'm sorry, I just realized this is gonna be the door. That's really exciting.
Hell yeah.
Continue.
But I really feel like he would. I feel like George is like actually progressive. Like it's not like a front for George Lucas. He's not doing it to be like, hey, come watch my movie, gay people.
Yeah.
There's a little 2-second kiss in there for y'all. Like, you know.
Oh my gosh, I have to.
I think.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead and finish.
No, I just think that George Lucas would have actually have more queer characters and probably more people of color.
I'd like to think so as well. But I wanted to point out that Eric said Luke isn't asexual. We know how much he liked his sister. Yeah.
That is horrible.
That was a thing.
Ted says Disney plays it so safe with their unnamed background extras kissing. Yeah, I think you even showed like the queer representation. This guy had his guts all out, no head.
Very queer. His guts don't work.
Right.
He has tummy issues, just like me. But no, it's this headless character who really you can only tell was a man if you want to go by like societal standards because he didn't have boobs. Right. And like, but he's a torso with organs and robot legs. He has no head. He's a decraniated person, which just y'all wait. I got some things to say about the decraniated in tomorrow's video. I feel a certain type of way about them. Oh god, I'm not saying anything. I'm saving it for the video. We can talk about it. We can talk about it on the podcast after the video comes out.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, and then his lover, and I found out about this on Wikipedia because I was researching the decraniated. So other than that, I had no idea these characters existed, nor that they were together. But it was like he and his lover, and I'm like, his lover. So then I go look up his lover. It's a masked bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's your representation, though you can't actually tell. Their genders are somewhat ambiguous, and on top of that, like, you've never heard of them before either. So, and I'm like, this is our representation, a headless torso. Thanks. Love ya.
Well, weren't there was like, I think when Cassian and Melshi, they get out of Narkina 5 and they get like rescued by those slugs. Correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't those like gay slugs?
I hope not. I hope not.
I think that they were lovers. I think that they were lovers, queer lovers.
I thought they were brothers. But that's the thing.
I don't even think they're the same species, though.
It's so inconspicuous that, like, they can just play a little game like that.
Right.
I could talk about this all night long, but
yeah.
Y'all, that's what y'all follow me on Twitter for. You can hear me bitch there.
Jorge said, I remember seeing an image of the cast of Rogue One before the movie came out and realizing most of the cast were of color. It felt so right. Exactly. It was so diverse.
It was such a diverse cast, and at least I didn't hear anybody being like, oh, they're just trying to, like, fill a quota or some bullshit like that. Like, no, the actors were just really good. That was the thing about, like, with the Ahsoka show. I didn't realize that was the first female-led Disney Plus show. And not only was it female-led, but it was, like, a lot of females. Like, we had Hera, and Hera was kind of a lead. Sabine was, like, a co-lead. We had Ahsoka herself. And the villain was a white man, which... just I love simply because, like, you know how so many times people of color get cast in these villainous roles, and I mean, don't get me wrong, most of the time they do amazing, but it's just that vilification of, like, the non-white person, and I'm like, finally they give us a villain that's just a white man. Like,
right.
I love it.
Yeah. Can I just say something that's funny to me is that with all these Star Wars projects, like all the new ones under Disney, the ones that always get called, like, woke are, like, the least woke ones, if you think about it, because Andor and Ahsoka, in my opinion, are probably the two that, like, there's people that obviously made videos, but not nearly on the scale of, like, some of these other shows or, like, the sequel trilogy, because the thing is, people liked Ahsoka, so it's harder for those people to capture those people that didn't like it, because that's their whole thing, is capturing those people that didn't like it and being like, the reason you didn't like it is because women were involved. It was much harder to do that when there's actually people who like the show, and so it kind of, like, escaped that. People didn't really go deep into it because they tried it and it didn't work. Even though Ahsoka's like probably the most woke in terms of like what they think woke is by having
By their
women and having
definition,
a white
yeah.
man as the villain.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have like Andor, which is like probably the most political thing that Disney released under Star Wars. Bringing actual politics back into things.
Bringing back politics in Star Wars. I love it.
I know. And none of them make videos about it. One, because they don't understand it. And two, because it just wasn't popular enough on like YouTube and such. Like people weren't talking about it like that. So I just think that that's funny. It's like the ones that are the most woke are the ones that don't actually get called woke. Very funny to me.
I'm very nervous. Let me look at the chat before I forget. Eric, you're right. The queer characters in The Rise of Skywalker, they do have names. We don't really know nothing about them from the movie. You have to read their supplementary material. But
right,
they do have names. You are right. They did deserve more. And hi, Mystery Hood. I saw that you popped in. Thanks for coming in and hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Rogue One came out the same year Trump won? Really?
Yes. I was going to say this. I really don't think that it's a coincidence that in 2016, the woke stuff, in my opinion, really started with Ghostbusters 2016, when they had all the woman-led Ghostbusters, and people were like, oh, how dare they? And then the movie was like not really well written, and it wasn't like a great movie, and lots of people of course are going to sit here and be like, and that is because it was woke and they got women. Well, back then it wasn't woke. They didn't know that word yet. They said SJW. Everything was SJW back then. And
these buzzwords.
I really think that I really think that is when it started. And then with Rogue One, again, people liked that movie. Like, it wasn't a bad movie, so like I said, it was harder to grasp those people to be like, this movie is horrible because it's woke,
Mm-hmm.
And then when The Last Jedi came out, which is the first movie that came out with Trump actually in office, that's when people, I feel like
in Georgia,
society
Star
got
Wars.
more comfortable. Right, bigots got more comfortable being in society and voicing their opinions and things like that.
They were given a voice. They were given a platform.
Right. Because like before, they're like, there's obviously very fucked up racist things that happened in the past in the Star Wars fandom. I mean, look at Ahmed Best, or I remember when John Boyega was cast in Star Wars and people found out he was a stormtrooper, and a bunch of people were like, oh, like the stormtroopers, they're supposed to be clones, you can have a black stormtrooper, but it was so very clearly that it was about him being black, because, and then they were like acting like it was a big lore thing for them, when it's like,
no,
well, the lore doesn't really say that. Right, and it's like the lore doesn't really say that clones are stormtroopers, especially at that point. Like, no. I'm sure at first, but definitely not in the sequel era.
No.
You know what I mean?
Well, and on top of that, talking about the sequels, all the racist shit and misogynistic shit that both Kelly Marie Tran and then,
right.
Oh my god, what's Reva's actress's? Moses Ingram. That Moses Ingram got. Where fucking Ewan McGregor had to be like, stop being fucking racist.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's just so sad that not only did those people have to go through that, but then you have to get like the title character of the show to be like, please stop, fandom, like the fandom that this show is made for, please stop being fucking racist.
Right.
Ugh.
And thank God they did, because I remember in the past they would be like, Kelly Marie Tran's getting hate, cut her out the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how they used to do it in the past. Mystery Hood says, I feel like every Star Wars show is great, even Obi-Wan Kenobi. Due to those theory/fan projects, people's expectations skyrocket and expect a little too much from a simple series made for fans. I definitely understand that.
I don't want to say I didn't like it, because I did like it. Oh my god, I don't know why I can't get these damn pieces in. I'm sorry, I'm over here struggling. I definitely think
Right.
Kathleen Kennedy overhyped it, talking about the rematch of the century. But
Right.
there's also a bunch of stuff that happened behind the scenes too that like kind of fucked Obi-Wan over from what it could have been. But I still like it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely get that, and I really felt that with like The Last Jedi. I feel like when I first watched it,
You were in the
I had all
trenches.
these. Yeah, but I didn't love it the first time I watched it. Like when I had all these expectations of like
Same.
Luke and Snoke are gonna have like a really, really hyped up like lightsaber duel,
Yeah.
and uh, you know, I don't know. I had a lot of expectations with Luke, I feel like, and I realized like, was the movie bad? Was the story with Luke bad, or was it just not what I expected? You know what I mean? Because I'm not saying that you can't think that Luke's story was bad, because there's obviously everybody has different opinions on that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. To me, I just felt like it wasn't a case of the story being bad. For me, it was like I just had these expectations that it was going to be something more, and then when I actually like looked at the story for what it was outside of my expectations, I was like, this is great. Like this isn't a bad put together thing. It just wasn't what I originally wanted or what I would have done.
I
You know?
went through the same thing, and then over time I'm like, wow, this is actually my favorite movie from the sequel trilogy. Imagine that.
Hmm.
And that's the thing,
Right.
is that's why even when like I do episode reviews and stuff on my channel, like I like to watch everything twice because I don't feel like I need to like take it in, and then once I
Hmm.
know like what happened, I watched it one time, then I watch it again, and that's when I kind of like pay more attention to what exactly was going on, and can
Right.
kind of really form an opinion. Because stuff like that, like you mentioned with The Last Jedi, when I walked out of that theater I was like, well, I don't know about that one. And
Yeah.
social media was horrible when that movie came out. People were, oh god, I mean, I wasn't in the fandom at the time online. You were, and I've heard you talk about it. I can only imagine. I was just like actively watching YouTube at the time, not even actively, passively, and it was still toxic as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so weird because I just feel like 2015, 2016 it was so nice, and I always think back about that time and just like, I don't know, the love of Star Wars. It wasn't plagued yet with, oh, I hate to say this, but it wasn't plagued yet with like creators where there wasn't anybody. Not saying creators are a bad thing. Like, creators have uplifted this community in lots of ways and made this place feel inclusive, and there's so many spaces people can come in where they didn't feel welcome in the Star Wars fandom before. Now, because there's so many voices leading these different communities in the Star Wars fandom, I think that does a really good thing for the Star Wars community. But at the same time, there was no one back then making money off of like these outrageous Star Wars takes.
True.
And so there was no one like people were looking up to that was like, this is the person's opinion, this is the Star Wars fan's opinion, and we're just going to agree with whatever this guy says. There wasn't any of that yet. And so
Yeah.
there was like none of this, like, I don't know, it just wasn't. People argued about Star Wars, obviously, but it wasn't like a political argument. You know what I mean? Like, where all of a
Exactly.
sudden, if you like these movies, you're a SJW, or if it's like, just these people suck. Anyways,
I know. I want to look.
May says.
I was gonna say I wanted to look in the chat. Go ahead.
May says, Amanda leading Acolyte, Envy, and Black. I hope people love it so they don't have to go through hell.
I
Yep.
agree. I'm really stressed about that show being online as a creator. There was already that thing where people were like, the Acolyte's canceled like a couple months ago, and I literally made like just a graphic that said with the Acolyte logo and is not canceled underneath, because I was like, they're just doing this because they're like, it's gonna be woke, and I'm like,
Yep.
poor Amanda. And I'm pretty sure that she uses she they pronouns. It may have changed,
Mhm.
but like, I already know everybody's gonna resort to she instead of using both interchangeably, and just the fact that Amanda identifies as non-binary and is a person of color, I'm like, I hope you are strong, and I hope they back them up so much, because what people are already doing online with the show, I can only imagine what it's going to be when it's coming out. I don't want them to have to go through that.
Yeah. And it's going to be a show where those people are looking at everything under a microscope, trying to find any single thing that's wrong with it, because they want to hate on it, but they don't want to hate on it and straight up say, oh, I'm hating on this because it's black and non-binary led. There's lots of women directors. I'm pretty sure the writers' room was entirely women, which the writers' room sounds very interesting to me.
Don't forget when I think you're about to say exactly what I was gonna say about oh god, what's her name? What's the director's name? Why can't I remember?
Leslie
Headland, when she was talking about somebody being in the director's room that was not like a Star Wars fan, and people the writer's room, and people went crazy.
Which is just insane to me, because like, especially when you hear the explanation for why, it's like they had people who were insane Star Wars fans, like Leslie Headland. We talked about this on our podcast before. We have a whole clip about it. Leslie Headland, she is a huge Legends fan, which is like a huge thing that all these people that hate on these types of things, they always say, we want Legends, it was so much better, we want Legends. So you have someone who's like super into that. You also have someone who's super into the canon stuff, willing to bring in characters from those books too. Like, you have High Republic characters, which is just crazy to me to see like a director come on stage, not of just the show panel. Leslie Headland came out of the High Republic book panel that was in like a smaller stage at Star Wars Celebration that was really only meant for like the hardcore fans, you know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, you have people like the person that hadn't seen anything Star Wars, who, by the way, before she got into the room, watched all of Star Wars. It was just like, before, like, she didn't know, she was surprised at things like, oh, Luke and Leia are siblings. But the reason why having that perspective is good is because whenever they would write something and like put focus on this one character that Star Wars fans would know, she could come in and be like, well, why is that focus? Are you able to explain that in the script for people that maybe are just getting into it, or so this story can stand on its own? Because otherwise, I don't understand why this character is important. Therefore, this moment would fall flat for me as a viewer who doesn't know what this is referencing. You know what I mean? Like, and so you're able to find that balance where it's like you can have really good, like, those nostalgic cameos that actually make sense in the story and benefit the story, rather than just being something that Disney Plus can put on a character poster to get people to watch it 2 days after it releases.
A poorly made character poster at that.
Right.
But that's another topic.
Right. Yes.
We're being bad. What are people saying in the chat? I know y'all have been. I see y'all posting. Austin and I, when we get talking, we just go. And I turned my mouse off because I don't want the battery to die, so I can't scroll.
No, I got you. So Mr. Hit says, I am a diehard Star Wars fan, and I openly say I find the sequels fine. While they don't feel too Star Wars-y as a standalone trio, they are great. The only part I hated, they made Luke weird. Yeah, I
understandable.
I agree. I like the sequels. I don't like Rise of Skywalker, but Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, I feel like I was the perfect age for those movies.
You were.
So I like love them. So yeah, lots of Acolyte hype. Jorge's excited. May's excited. Hell yeah, it's gonna be so good. And just like, you saw the leaked trailer, right?
Yes. So funny story, and you know about this. I'm not gonna say anything too in depth, but I'm going to be on a podcast tomorrow talking about the Acolyte, and I was trying to look up a bunch of resources on it to kind of refresh my mind, and because there hasn't been a ton of news about it, it's all kind of been sporadic. Like, there's pockets of it, and then it just like disappears for a while, and then it comes back again. And I was trying to look up the leaked trailers so I could refresh myself with it, because I only saw it, I think I watched it twice, like back to back, and that was it. And I can't find it.
Right.
So if anybody knows where to get it, please send me a DM.
The way that I always do it is I look it up on YouTube and I change the search filters to upload date, and usually there's someone who uploaded it like an hour ago that it didn't delete yet. So try that. If not, I think I have like half of it, like, because there was a leak, but for some reason there was only like half of it, and then someone released the whole thing. I think I have like the second half in my Discord, so I could send it to you if you need.
Please.
But yeah, it looks so good, and it looks really exciting and like really well put together. You know, you have like, even just off the bat, you have like these alien species from Star Wars that are like Padawans that
aliens.
I don't know, I like that. Yeah. I love it. Eric says no one saw my joke. Which one? Jeff Quellia once said, expectations kick you in the nuts every time. You know?
Yeah, valid. I don't know who Jeff Quellia is, but I kind of agree with that statement.
Yeah. Mystery Hit says, like, for example, with like in the sequels, he wanted to kill Ben just because the dark side was building up inside him, yet forgave Vader, who killed millions. It just doesn't make sense to me, man. And I'm like, do I want to give my little explanation or save it for another time?
Save it for another time, because we could talk about it for hours. I do want to point out that I saw that Blue is back, so I have to ask Blue what they're having for dinner.
Blue said corned beef.
Oh, I used to kill. I mean, it's different. Corned beef hash, though. It's like one of the weirdest things that I used to eat when I was like before I went vegan, and that was like, especially hangover breakfast. Corned beef hash, woo! It would just like fill you up. Oh my god, it was so good. And like my grandma got me into it, but if you haven't tried it, do yourself a favor, because if you want a hearty hangover breakfast, it's perfect.
Right. The only time I ever had corned beef was at a buffet on St. Patrick's Day, and it wasn't good because it was a buffet, and like everything is half as good in a buffet.
Oh well.
So,
and if there was cabbage or something with it, I was probably boiled or like sitting in water. Boiled cabbage.
Yeah.
Not a huge fan.
Yeah, it was probably boiled. Eric says the joke I said, bricks and screws, very woke. Oh. Yep.
Not bricks and screws. Look, I'm using bricks right now.
Hell yeah.
I'm using bricks to build this Star Wars thing.
Hell yeah. Hey, are you two thinking of getting the Hasbro Black Series Captain Rex helmet? I'm probably not.
So, I'm sure, and we talked about this because Mystery Hood, they just got their 30-second... Why can't I think of these words? The one that I have, the 330-second.
The 330-second.
And so, I'm not huge into the helmets. I only got the 330-second because I'm an Ahsoka stan, and I love the Clone Wars, and that moment in Season 7, cried. The only other helmet that I would really want to get, and I talked about this recently on Twitter, is a Dark Trooper helmet. Or not a Dark Trooper, a Death Trooper helmet. But they have never made one. So add this to the list of my Asajj Ventress Funko Pop that doesn't exist, and my Death Trooper helmet that doesn't exist.
Well, there you go. There's lots of costume making. Did you look on Lenovo?
Oh, for a helmet?
Yeah.
I had posted in Discord asking for like suggestions of good places to buy. Somebody mentioned, I think it was Cybercraft. I had actually looked at them though too, because I follow them on Instagram.
Yeah, the fan made ones are always so much more accurate.
I know. That's the crazy part. However, because they're so much more accurate and they're fan made, they're usually more expensive. But the thing about that is, it's like they're more expensive, but it's worth the money that you pay. So
right. Well, the reason I don't want the Rex helmet is because it's like horribly inaccurate, and I'm not even the type of person to be like, well, everything gotta be accurate. But it's not accurate to the Clone Wars. It's not accurate to like the prequel clones, it's not accurate to what he looked like in Ahsoka. Like they just, and the paint job too, where it's like the parts where it's supposed to be welded together, they like really overdid it. It looks really overdone.
That's interesting though. Have we seen an actual photo of it or just like the mock-up?
Like just I don't know the difference. Like whatever pictures they posted, they send them to my email all the time because they're like, post about this.
Hasbro Pulse. If they've only showed like the digital renders of it and not a physical helmet, I will say the 332nd helmet that I have behind me looks so much better in person than it does like on the website and like the digital render of it. The weathering on it and the wear on it looks a lot better than it doesn't really look like it's very worn at all on the website, and I was skeptical to get it, but Johnny C Books and Comics, one time on Discord, he was showing me some of his collection and he had the helmet, and I was like, oh wow, that actually looks really good. And so I was like, I'm gonna get it.
Right.
So
the only one I have, the only helmet I have is Captain Cardinal up there.
Is that a Sith Trooper helmet?
No, Captain Cardinal is from the Phasma book.
Okay.
And do you remember when Target in 2020, when Galaxy's Edge was closed, they like did this campaign where it's like bring Batu to Target or whatever?
Okay. Yeah,
and that because a lot of the Galaxy's Edge, a lot of it is from the Phasma book, like V Marathi.
Okay. This was before I knew how to read, so I didn't read those books.
Mystery Hit says they actually showed a physical version of the Rex helmet. It looks so much better than the goofy renders. Yeah, I feel like I saw like actual pictures of it at like one of these conventions or something, and I was like, I don't know. But
I'm not the person to ask. I
just like, I want the 332nd one too, right? But in my opinion, it looks so big and bulky.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I was like thinking about it and I was like, this feels very large. And like when I think of myself wearing it versus a clone, but also I'm not wearing any armor. Like I imagine I feel like it like if you've worn a motorcycle helmet, it feels like the size of a motorcycle helmet. Granted, this is supposed to be sci-fi and like cooler and more sleek and whatever. But I imagine it would look like if you were just wearing like the underclothes that the clones wear, like those black suits and the helmet, because but it would be different and like in the armor. But obviously I ain't wearing the fucking clone armor.
And every time we've seen clones so far in the Disney era, they've all been live action, except the one time that they had live action troopers in Book of Boba Fett and then CGI'd over them for some reason. But with that, because the clones were all CGI in the prequels, you can't put a human under that clone armor. So when you see an Ahsoka, that the clone armor is so much more bulkier, and I know it really pisses people off, but I'm just like, I really think that it's because they have an actual human being under them this time, and not like a stick figure render. That
not even that, it's a render that's got Tamara Morrison's head like just put on it. Like they didn't render it to his body, they made the body, the armor on it, and then just like put his head on it. And that's only when it's unmasked, too. Oh, bye, Eric. Eric said he has to bounce. Ooh, you have Star Wars fanfic to write? I love that. What's it about? Well, I'll probably see online. You gotta go. And then I did see at Mystery Hood that they're doing a 337 Funko Pop. Though, I'm not gonna get it. I'm not gonna get it.
I want all those Ahsoka Pops. I need to...
Let me turn and you can see my shelf.
I need to stop collecting until I get shelves to put them on this wall, because I'm scared to be making YouTube videos with these in the background. Because I always see people getting roasted on Twitter. They're like, when are nerds gonna stop making videos and podcasts with Funko Pops in the background. I'm like, oh yeah, when are they gonna stop doing that? Like, because people like that are horrible.
Whatever, who cares? Who cares? I mean, honestly, when you think about it, I would like to think that when you're watching my video, you're either watching me or you're not even watching at all and you're just listening to me talk. Like, because, you know, like sometimes I'll put on videos and I don't necessarily watch it, but I'm still listening to it. And I don't ever really find myself, unless it's like a live stream, where it's like, okay, you know, I don't necessarily need to look at you and what you're doing. So I don't ever really look at other people's backgrounds unless I'm like actively like, let me check out their background or backdrop. But I guess some people do.
Can't relate. I am looking at everybody's background. I'm looking at all the little things, and I'm still listening. I'm telling you, it's ADHD or something.
That's what it sounds like.
I'm always looking like Christian Harloff's a good example where in his podcast, his whole set, he has like all these books, all these little figures from different movies, and then he has an entire Blu-ray collection of just so many Blu-rays. I'm sitting there listening to him, and I'm grasping what he's saying, but I'm also looking. I'm like, oh, he got Insidious. Oh, is that Baby Driver? Like, you know,
Not
like,
Baby Driver. I get it though.
So,
there, somebody I watch occasionally. What's his name? Chris Stuckerman, who does a lot of horror like reviews and stuff. That's usually my go-to when I want to watch a review on like a new horror movie that came out. He has a cool setup. I'm pretty sure where it almost kind of looks like he's in a movie store, which I kind of love.
right.
And when I say a movie store, this is before your time. Like a Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, like somewhere where you'd go rent movies.
I know what a fucking Blockbuster is. Oh my god.
Have you been to one? Have you rented a movie from one though, actively?
Yeah, because they didn't get rid of Blockbusters, like actively start getting rid of them until like what, 2008?
Yeah, and how old were you then? Like 4?
I don't even know.
I'm just calling your shit out. I'm sorry.
5, like 5 or 6, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I was starting my sophomore year of high school.
I also used to get DVDs from Netflix.
Oh, I actually never did that. I never used Netflix until I started streaming stuff. That was the first time I ever used Netflix.
Because I just remember we used to get all the, like, I remember we got the Indiana Jones movies and stuff from Netflix, and then I remember we got a Wii, and I was shook when, hell yeah.
Whew.
Looks, oh.
It's gigantic. Whew. Okay. Sorry. Just had to point that out. They're not here for us.
Yeah, I used to...
They're just here for the Legos.
Mystery Hit says, y'all are so lucky to have beautiful shelves and lights displaying everything. If I would do that, my brothers would be able to trash the whole place on one singular day.
I get that.
I mean, mine's a mess right now. I got shit everywhere, but...
I am... So, funny enough, my office is what would be deemed as the dining room in the house. But we didn't use it. I don't have people over for like dinner, and if I do, like we're usually congregating to watch something. I do hate eating on the couch. I really do hate it. But I have like a 2-person like bar top type table in my kitchen, so like you can't have a dinner party with a fucking bar table with 2 chairs. So I just yeah, I was like, we don't use the dining room. I desperately need an office, and I guess the rest is history.
We don't use our dining room either. My dad has like all his guitar stuff, and then we have like the cat stuff, like the cat food and everything.
I mean, I feel like dining rooms are people don't use them like they used to, unless it's like a family gathering. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe that's because we're young.
Yeah. I don't know, because my parents, like, they don't have a... Oh, I guess my mom got one. But, no, everybody I know has those tray tables.
Honestly, I made a joke to my best friend. I was like, if you're gonna make me sit in the living room to watch something because you have to go to bed before me while we eat dinner, you need to buy me a fucking tray table, because I don't want to sit. That's the thing. I hate eating while I'm watching something, like eating a meal. Like popcorn at the movie theater, no problem. But when I have to like focus on what I'm eating, I'm like, I have to look down, so I'm missing what's happening on the TV. But once again, as you kind of mentioned before,
I do not have that problem.
I was going to say neurotypical brain can't do all that at the same time. So I know it, and that's
like,
that's the thing. She has ADHD, and so she's perfectly fine with it. And I'm like, I can multitask, but like when I want to pay attention to something, I don't want to have to focus on anything else. I want to give all of my attention to the thing that I'm doing as I'm sitting here building this and talking to you.
I've never had that problem. Like, I actually can't, like, well, I can, but I prefer to watch something while I'm eating, and I'll like wait till I find a good YouTube video or whatever to watch before I start eating.
I mean, but are you really watching the video though, or are you just listening to it?
Yes, because no, I'm watching it because I don't pay attention. I've never had to focus on eating my food. I've never been like, oh, let me look down. Okay, I'm gonna take a bite. No, I just do it. It's like a, it's like, what's the word? Involuntary, or just like, you don't think about it. It's like breathing.
I mean,
now everybody's gonna be thinking about breathing for the next minute. So sorry.
I mean, I could do it. It's not that I can't do it, but I don't want to have to like spill something on myself. So
it could also be just because you're probably like,
I eat fancy.
Are you a clean freak?
I'm getting better about not being one.
Yeah, because I don't. Oh no, I got something on my shirt. Oh no, I got something on the floor. That's what we got the vacuum for.
No, because then it'll stain, or it'll stain my shirt. And like this shirt, it looks like I'm just wearing a black shirt. My shirt that I am wearing right now costed like $40. So yeah, I'm not trying to fucking stain it.
What are you eating that's staining your shirts?
Spaghetti, anything with the sauce. I drink red wine. Like,
you just wash it out, and you also only wear black.
That's another reason why I only wear black now.
And if it's like,
it won't stain.
If it's something that's gonna stain, like red wine, then you just put it in the wash immediately.
I will put on a sweatshirt. That I don't care if something happens to get spilled on it, because when Scotty's drinking, sometimes that wine be sloshing around in the glass, and you just can't control it. Let me see what Mystery Hood said. The helmet is bigger, but if you put on armor. Oh, you have custom 501st clone armor? That's cool. It does look good. That's kind of what I was thinking. It's designed to fit the majority of head sizes. I also thought that, because some people have some big ass heads. And some people also have really tiny heads. So yeah, it has to accommodate everybody. May,
yeah.
You think I'm building this really fast? Honestly, it's 10:30 my time, and I have only made it. I haven't even finished bag 5. Granted, bag 5 was 2 bags and then a smaller bag, but I was trying to get through 5 and 6 tonight, so
oof.
That obviously won't be happening.
Yeah. Did you hear anything about the new Sean Levi Levy movie recently? Star Wars movie?
I don't know who that is, and I did not hear anything about it, no.
So he's a new director for Star Wars, and and
As
he's the
most
one, if you
are.
heard recently, right? He's the one, if you heard recently, Kathleen Kennedy said, "I want to hire you to make a Sean Levy movie." I don't know if it's Levy or Levi. I feel like it's Levy. I feel like Levi is very, I don't know. It's spelled Levy. Um,
Yeah,
but
Levy. The name sounds familiar, but
mhm. Well, Kathleen Kennedy hired him and said, "I want you to make a Sean Levy movie."
oh, so
Um,
it's woke. Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen
no,
Kennedy wants more
I
woke Star Wars.
I mean, here's the thing. I love the idea of Kathleen Kennedy or any huge franchise person besides maybe Marvel. It doesn't really work as much because everything is supposed to connect.
Yeah.
But like something like Star Wars where there's like already so many different genres in it and you can kind of like pick and choose where it's like A New Hope is like sci-fi, fantasy, everything. You can pick a western. Oh, I'm gonna make an all western Star Wars show. Oh, I'm gonna make.
I
You could do
agree.
things like that.
I agree.
And so I'm all for that. But when I hear a Sean Levy movie, I'm like, his filmography is very diverse. That like, what exactly is a Sean Levy movie? So he
True.
made he made Nightmare at the Museum, Night at the Museum, Nightmare at the Museum, Night at the Museum.
I want to
He
see.
made those movies.
I want to see Nightmare at the Museum. I could be fine not watching Night at the Museum again.
I see. I was thinking. I was like, but his style might be really good. And which I don't want any straight white man to be directing this movie. But hypothetically, Dr. Afra movie where because she's kind of super into like archaeology and things like that. I think that style might be really cool.
But the goofiness would fit
Yeah.
in Star Wars because I know some people complained about like the almost like forced goofiness in some of the
Mhm.
sequel stuff, and like obviously Andor is
Right.
not going to be a goofy show, but like
Right.
it
But
that is needed too, and I think Sean Levy could bring that. I see that Jorge said Sean
yeah,
Levy did
and
Deadpool, so that makes sense. Talking
well,
about goofy.
he's doing he's doing the third Deadpool movie. He didn't do the first or second.
Okay.
Because he's recently been working with Ryan Reynolds on everything. So he did Free Guy, the movie about video games, which I thought was really cool. So I was thinking like maybe Kathleen Kennedy means like a family fun movie, but then I'm like, but his next movie is Deadpool 3, the first R-rated Disney movie.
Oh yeah,
So-
I was gonna say, and that's not gonna be a family-friendly movie, I'm sure.
Right. But he also, like Horace says, also worked on Stranger Things. He did a few episodes of Stranger Things, in my opinion, some of the best ones. So he's a good director. I really don't understand why people are like, oh my god, it's gonna be so horrible. He also did another movie with Ryan Reynolds, The Adam Project, which I really liked. I don't know if you know anything about Percy Jackson, but there's a new series starring Walker Scobell, and he plays like the young Ryan Reynolds in the Adam Project. So I don't know. Like I think Sean Levy's like a good director. I think he's fine. I've never watched any of his movies and been like, ugh, you know. So
Yeah.
but he's also one that's like, okay, but it's not like he's bad. But what specifically? I would love to know
Yeah.
what specifically Kathleen Kennedy was thinking. Like this is the guy for Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Or like what part of his filmography does she want him to hone in on that she was like, this would be
Right.
perfect. I agree, but
Right.
I also agree about the fact that it's just nice to get people that have like that different, not a different perspective, but have like a thing that they do, and then like put the Star Wars, I guess, blanket over it. Because I do enjoy, like, Ahsoka was more high fantasy, like you mentioned. A New Hope is got more sci-fi fantasy to it. Andor, we know, is very political. It's a political drama. They try to say the Book of Boba
Right.
Fett was a gangster movie or a mobster movie.
Right.
We won't
Yeah.
talk about that. But I like the idea of having these different genres. You mentioned a western. The Mandalorian, since like the beginning, they were like, oh, it's a space western, like.
Right.
And then with the Acolyte,
Yeah.
they're saying they're taking a lot of like samurai films and stuff into
Yes.
consideration for that. So I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. May says maybe action with kids in it. I don't know, because I feel like the only
Spy
one that really
Kids
has a
meets
kid.
Star Wars. Oh, but no, we already have
Well,
Robert
that's Book of
Rodriguez.
Boba Fett. Yeah, that was Book of Boba Fett. um, I don't know, because he only really has one movie with a kid in it, which is the Adam Project, and it's not like a kid's movie. And then like Stranger Things, but he's just a director on it.
Oop, I
Like
found where the
it's
missing pieces go. That's what I've been looking for this whole time.
hell yeah. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see, and then also, there's been lots of rumors that his movie would take place past the sequel trilogy. I don't know where people are getting this from because
That's what they
I
want.
don't think that he's that far into it. Yeah, but someone asked him in an interview, asked him, "Is your movie about Ben Solo coming back?" I don't know why they asked him that,
Because that's
but
what we
his
want.
response, well, he responded, "No comment."
Oh, interesting. Come on, Force Dyad, bringing back Ben Solo. And
Right.
and somehow Maz Kanata will have his old lightsaber in Takodana. Somehow. We'll never
Yes.
learn. It's a story for another time. And then he will purify the crystal on screen.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I have been ever since Rise of Skywalker, I'm like, Ben's not dead. There's ways around this. I have all my theories, or not really theories, but like ways that I would do it. Because it's not
Same.
really a theory if there's like not a movie confirmed or whatever. Like, or it's not really a theory if you don't have like evidence. I just have like, this is what I want. This is what I want to happen.
I'm gonna
But I've seen.
start another bag. Cause why not?
Period. Yeah, period. But I know that the Raylos are like really invested in this movie now, and I'm like, this could go good or bad because no comment could he could just be like really secretive and be like, well, I don't want to confirm or deny anything, or he really could be being like, no comment.
Yeah. Wink, nudge, like,
Right,
sorry, it's gonna be loud, everybody.
all good.
I was like, there
But
doesn't
yeah.
look like too many pieces in this bag. Well, when you pour them out, so we may be going a little bit later. I don't think anybody's gonna complain in the chat if I go a little bit later. Austin, you know we stay up until fucking 4 in the morning, so.
I know. Not tonight. You see these bags under my eyes? Okay, here's what happened. You told me to drink that sleepy time tea.
Yeah.
I sure did last night for the first time, but ooh, it was real difficult to wake up today.
Well,
Stay awake.
did you sleep for 8 hours, or did you try to do like a little 4
I
hour
did.
nap?
No, I slept. The issue is I always every time I wake up, gotta go pee, and then I can't fall back asleep.
That's when you gotta pee with the lights off. You use your phone flashlight. Here's some quality content for my channel. When you're tired and
Yeah.
you wake up to pee, use your phone flashlight. Don't turn the bathroom light on, because then you'll wake up.
Right. Yeah. May says, yeah, very true. There's a lot of directors I'd love to do Star Wars before him, but what do I know? Yeah, it's just one of those things. But then again, it's like, for me, I really like The Last Jedi and what Rian Johnson did. But there ain't nothing that Rian Johnson did previously that I'm like, that's the guy for Star Wars. Get him in here immediately. You know what I mean? And
True.
I don't know what the thought process was behind hiring him. His movies don't really speak Star Wars to me, but then he made like, in my opinion, a really good Star Wars movie. So
Agreed.
I don't know.
I couldn't
May
agree
says,
more.
Yes. I hate that they killed Ben. I really want Ben back. Me too.
Me too.
It's fucked up. And they didn't give him like no dialogue in the last scene.
He's just like,
It was weird. Yeah, he doesn't speak. It was so odd, so weird.
well, he probably
Um,
couldn't re-record those lines in his closet, so.
He didn't have the helmet.
Oh my god.
May says he was spotted hanging with Taylor Swift today. Yeah, I know that he's friends with Sean Levy's friends with Taylor Swift.
Oh.
And that
I was like,
she
Adam
is.
Driver was with Taylor Swift today.
No, that man don't leave his house. um, I know that there's been lots of rumors, and he was even asked about it if Taylor Swift is gonna be in Deadpool 3 as
Oh
like
no, I
this
thought you were gonna
singer
say
from the
Star
comics.
Wars. Oh god, I was about to be like, no.
No, his movie isn't even written, so pretty much any leaks you hear about it, unless it's coming from like someone who's directly working with Sean Levy,
Then it's a
then
lie.
they're probably not real, right?
Okay.
So, but I do know that he was asked about that, and that's another one where, and it's like, this is why I kind of feel like it's weird that he said like no comment to the Ben Solo thing, because it's like pretty much confirmed that Taylor Swift's going to be in the movie, like confirmed in the sense that the people that are saying she's in the movie are pretty reliable Marvel leakers,
Yeah.
but he said basically the same thing when asked if Taylor Swift's going to be in the movie. He was like, no comment, you'll just have to wait and see.
Did you know that she's an actress now? She was in Cats.
Yep. Yes, she was, and she was in Babylon or something like that.
I have no idea. I'm not a Swiftie.
She was in one of those movies recently where, and then she got like, she was in one scene, and then she got like pushed and hit by a car.
Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's Taylor Swift songs that I like. I'm not gonna pretend like I don't like any of her music.
All too well.
Yeah, I didn't.
That's my shit.
I didn't listen to that one. That's like off her little "I'm a Homely Girl in the Woods" album, right?
No, that's from Red. You're thinking of Evermore.
Oh. Cardigan?
Wait, I don't know if the album's called Evermore.
Who knows?
Or if it's a song on the album. Oh yeah, no, the album's called Evermore.
How do I make this
that
piece go the opposite?
Which, by the way, doesn't, you wouldn't know this, but I think Taylor's 1989 Taylor's version comes out like tonight.
Oh
Yesterday?
really? Oh, ooh, pre-stream.
Yeah. The Taylor's version stuff is cool though. I like it.
I mean, you know, I'm a musician, and I fully support and agree with her going in and re-recording everything because she should be getting paid for her catalog.
Right.
So I can. Plus, her voice has improved so much since those early days. So on top of that, like, as a perfectionist, I would want to do the same thing just because I'm like, I can make it better now. But like, she's actually doing it for a reason. I'm not gonna lie. My freshman year of high school was the year that... What was that album? The yellow one. What was the yellow one?
Taylor Swift. It was just called Taylor Swift. Or you might be thinking of Fearless.
Fearless. You're right. Freshman year of high school. I did listen to the first album, but yeah, Fearless had come out. And I listened to a lot of Fearless. I own it on CD. I couldn't tell you any of those songs, what they're called. But I loved it back then.
With me. You belong with me.
And I'm gonna...
I was in like kindergarten.
I'm gonna excuse my post middle school, freshman year of high school music taste.
I don't even care that my music taste is bad. Like I told you, and exclusive for the chat, the like 5 people that are in here, I'm gonna be making a video ranking the Olivia Rodrigo songs because I fuck with Olivia Rodrigo hard ever since 2021.
I mean,
ever since.
I don't know her music like that. I know Good For You. I like that song. Everybody liked the Driver's License song. I was like, this is slow and depressing, and I'm not trying to be depressed, so I'm not going to listen to this.
That's why it worked for me, because I had like just gone out of like a bad relationship, so I was like, this is perfect. Now, if it had released a few months earlier, things might not have been too good for me. So I'm glad it released when it did, like a few months after.
Yeah,
you know?
No, because it worked out perfectly, because you had that song where you could relate to it, yes. And like it wouldn't put you in a depression because you're already in one. Like, don't...
Exactly.
I'm right there with you, because if I'm not feeling great, I have 2 playlists. I have my lonely playlist, which has a bunch of depressing music on it. But then I have my depressy pop playlist, which is all like upbeat depressing songs for when I'm like feeling meh, but I don't want to be sad, but I still want to feel my feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't really do playlists. What I do is I'll listen to music on Spotify. It'll show up in my on repeat, and then I just usually go to my on repeat until I'm start adding new songs. And the way I start adding new songs is I probably heard it in some type of video, and I'm like, well, what's that? And then the rest is history. But then sometimes I'll like look on like a throwbacks playlist. I'm like, let me listen to some Katy Perry. Like, so
I put this piece on wrong, and this is not easy to get off. Did you see that article today, by the way, about Pedro Pascal's been seen hanging out with some man, and people are being like, oh my god, are they dating?
yeah, people have speculated for a long time that he's queer. I hate when people do that.
Me
like,
too.
With any celebrity, because I'm just like,
but with him specifically, I feel like people do it because like his sister's trans, and he's very like outspoken for the queer community and, you know, the trans community, which I mean they overlap, but
yeah.
I'm like,
I know too, like,
you could be a straight ally. They exist. They're active straight allies that exist.
Yeah, and he's like really private about like any type of dating. And you don't really hear him talking about, I don't know, like people need to let that man be. It's 2023. Don't be forcing people out of the closet.
Agreed, because that happened with that Heartstopper guy, right? Where's Tet when we need them? They would know.
Yeah, it was something like he was getting like a lot of hate for
because they said he was queer baiting. Yeah.
Right. I don't know. It's just fucked up.
Agreed, but that's the world that we live in. I'm like, what are some Star Wars things we can talk about? There's not really anything going on right now. That's the thing. We're in the slump season.
Yeah, there's really not. Oh, you know, I haven't really seen anyone talk about this one. So you know how Star Wars has been releasing those videos that were like pre-recorded of the Ahsoka cast?
Yes.
And they released one with Amon Esfandi recently.
Oh, friend of the pod.
Yeah, friend of the pod.
I watched it.
He basically said in it that Ezra's a character that's always been there for him, and I'm like, oh, like was he into Star Wars Rebels before he was casted?
I remember him saying that. I was curious too.
Because I think it makes sense. I mean, if you look at Ezra, if I was Amon, I'd be like, that's me. Let me watch this show. Like, I don't know if you know Alpha Ignition on Instagram, but he's like a Kanan Jarrus cosplayer. And he said that he like started watching Rebels because he was like, that's me. That Kanan is me.
I feel like I do know who you're talking about, and I feel like I'm confusing them with someone else. They're not queer, are they? Is he queer?
No.
Okay. I think I'm confusing him with somebody else. But I think I know who you're talking about because he like looks like Kanan, right? And he always does like blind Kanan.
Yeah.
I think I know.
Yeah, he looks exactly like Kanan, has like great cosplays. I remember too, his dedication was crazy because he had the long hair, right? But then I remember when the season 4 like mid-season trailer came out.
Did he cut it?
We saw Kanan cut his hair, and he cut his hair before the episode even came out.
Hell yeah. I love that. And you know,
I was like, damn.
You know how I feel about Kanan's haircut. If y'all listen to the podcast, you know I think he looks hot with the mullet. Much better than before. But
you're crazy.
It's so good. Crazy. It's so good. He gets a little edge.
No. It looks so messy. Looks so fucked up.
I love it. I love it. Hey, it was working for Hera. No,
she said she hated it.
And I was gonna say it got debunked. They did not do the deed on the the paraglider or whatever the fuck it was called.
Yes, they did. Who debunked it?
Maybe it wasn't debunked, but I know Amy, who was in the chat earlier, she had mentioned something one time that I really liked that theory.
That it was the episode where they sent everyone off to do their own thing. Yeah.
And I really liked that theory, but I thought that she might have said that Dave Filoni had said something about it as well when he was asked before, but I could just be making that up.
Yes. No, because we got 500 fucking TikTok comments about it when I posted that TikTok, and they were like, well, actually, Dave Filoni said. And so I was like, okay, fine.
Not everybody arguing when Kanan and Hera had sex canonically. I feel like they're the only characters that gets argued about.
Also, people online, they do not read sarcasm at all. I'm like, do you really think that I thought that they fucked the 10 seconds that they were on that glider? Or was I maybe telling a little joke for the podcast? Like, oh my god. But yeah, nothing really going on in Star Wars. We're in a dry season, as they call it.
Aren't we supposed to get Skeleton Crew at the end of the year, or am I making that up?
We were delayed because Disney refuses to pay their actors.
Okay. So. I couldn't remember if it was delayed or not. Fuck, I'm missing pieces. Why has this happened to me?
And what's weird is it actually sounds like it was delayed like a lot. Like a long time. Like it sounds like it's more coming out in like fall of next year. Ooh. Which I was like, why? But again, it's not confirmed, and I'm not saying that people with good track records can't be wrong. But for me, whenever I see someone that has a pretty reliable track record, I'm like more inclined to be like, okay, what's going on? Like, you know? So when people are saying that it's not coming until like fall, what? Hello, Murph. Hello, Murph. Also, May, you do not need to stop talking in the chat. You are all good because you're perfectly fine. Blame the people that are not responding to you in the chat or typing with you.
I agree, May. Thanks for being a trooper and hanging with us. Especially because, like we were just saying, there's not a ton going on right now, which is crazy for me because if we look back to when I started my creator journey, it was Obi-Wan to Andor to... What came after Andor? Bad Batch? No, yeah, Bad Batch to Mandalorian, then to... I guess Ahsoka would have been after that? We had Visions, but I didn't cover Visions. Either way, it was like boom, 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 boom. And this is going to be the first time. It's going to be my first time going through the lack of content season. But I mean, I'm not worried about it. You know, I got plenty of stuff I could talk about. I can talk about all the things I love in Attack of the Clones and why everybody should watch it, and because it's amazing.
For me, when people talk about dry season, like, what was it? Like, I think it was after Andor. People were talking about the Star Wars dry season. I'm like, you creators would not have survived. I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm beefing with the entire Star Wars creator community here today, but I was like, you guys would not have survived back in the day, 2018. Well, first of all, people older than me, they're the ones that are like, there's 13 years where we didn't get no Star Wars content, and they really were troopers. But back in 2018, after Solo came out and flopped, and no one was really like talking about it for more than like a month.
Justice for Solo.
There was nothing. Rebels ended, and it was nothing until Star Wars Celebration, which was almost a year. From May to April, nothing. And so we did just fine. I just kept posting about The Last Jedi and Solo and just random shit I liked. And I did good. But then like once Rise of Skywalker came out, or no, it was like Celebration, there was a bunch of stuff, and then it was like quiet for a bit, but we had like so many announcements and so much to talk about. Like we got all the reveals of the Mandalorian, all this stuff about Rise of Skywalker, like Palpatine's coming back. So it's not like we didn't have nothing to talk about. But then ever since Disney Plus came out, it's just been nonstop. Like, there's been, what, 4 months at most?
Yeah, it hasn't been
without
long.
something.
Sorry, I'm missing a piece again, and this time I feel like I lost, or like I did not get the piece that I need, because I don't see it anywhere. No. And that'd be the second piece, which has never happened to me before.
This defunct ass set.
This janky $400. I can't say janky and $400 in the same line.
You need to tell him, be like, you can call me like, this is my second piece that's missing. Like, come on now.
I have a live stream to do Lego. Don't you know who I am? Right. I'm Scotty Holiday's Star Wars. I'm sure you've heard of me.
I have like a sponsorship with Book of Death. Like, come on now.
I'm about to. What the hell?
There's nothing going on in Star Wars.
Hold on.
Did you see?
What is Murph saying? Y'all babies.
Y'all babies.
You merely adapted Star Wars.
Star Wars. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see real life until I was a man, and by then, it was simply blinding.
Oh well, sorry, can't relate to being a man.
This cinematographer of Ahsoka, he said that it was really hard with the lighting of the series because there was no wiggle room.
Well,
everything was predetermined.
Well, we could tell by how.
That's one of the downsides of the volume, is everything's predetermined, where on a usual film set there's a lot of improvisation, not just with the acting but also with the camera movement, with the directing, the directions, like the performance. So
yeah,
it sucks when there's an element that's like, sorry, you got to stick strictly to this and you're not really able to do anything else.
And the thing that sucks about that too is it does limit the creativity of it all. I know plenty of shots would have benefited from some shadowing. Poor Mary Elizabeth Winstead. So many shots of her. It's just like the Miley Cyrus photo of like with the red eyes and everything, yeah. But just green face and those crazy green eyes. And it's funny because Ezra's eyes don't look as crazy as hers do, but I'm pretty sure they're the same type of contacts.
His are just darker. I don't know. I know you always say his aren't as jarring. I don't really agree. Well, they're not as jarring as Hera's, but they are something I noticed immediately. I was like, what the fuck is this? These purple contacts.
Oh my god.
His are more just because so, I don't know, it's just so unnatural to me. I'm just like, I don't know. You know what sucks too? This whole contact thing started because Rosario Dawson was really in character. Because if, mind you, originally Dave Filoni, I think Dave Filoni, because he was the director of The Jedi, he was the one that was like, we don't need to do all that. Like, we don't need these bright ass contacts.
You're right. And then
your brown eyes are perfectly fine. And she was like, no, I am Ahsoka Tano, and I'm gonna have these bright ass blue eyes.
I remember.
Which, like, good for her, but look at what you started. She's like Oppenheimer now. She's like, it's just everything that came after is horrible.
She will
finish. Oh, Parks, hello.
Oh, Parks that I've heard of before?
Yes.
Parks the YouTuber?
Howdy, y'all. Saw your tweets about the stream. Also want to drop by and say hello. Also love what you're doing with the podcast. Haven't had time to watch a full episode yet, though.
Thank you, Parks.
We appreciate it.
I appreciate it a lot. And yeah, we've only had like one episode that's been like an hour, so I completely understand.
Yeah. Yep, all our episodes are hella long. We still haven't even gotten under an hour yet. Every time we're like, this episode is going to be under an hour. Well, we didn't do that for the Thrawn PowerPoint. We knew that was
there was no way the Thrawn PowerPoint was going to be quick. And that's
But-
fine. There was so much to get through.
Yeah, we got real close with that second to last episode though. It's like an hour and 4 minutes. Oh, it was so close.
If you think about it, though, the content of the episode is under an hour. Because the intro itself is a couple minutes long. But we don't have to count that.
Yeah. Mike Murph says they should have did the pupils digitally. Yeah, I think they did do some enhancements. Like I know for Thrawn, he had like actual red contacts on set, but then they added what's the white part of the eye called?
I don't know.
It to red.
It's like a sclera contact, but I don't know what the white of the eye is called. But yeah, I loved that change because I was not expecting it. And that's the thing. It was kind of like, well, I guess it wasn't really with the Grand Inquisitor because everybody was just pissed that his eyes weren't like yellow or red. But with Thrawn, it was like, okay, he's got the red eyes. It's going to be different. They're not going to be all red. But it was like a welcome surprise when it was like all red. I was like, oh, it's so good. Now, if only they'd give him some prosthetics just to make his face look a little more sculpted. But I understand, Hayden Christensen, they had to do some work on him in post. And, I'm sure that took up a lot of the budget. But what they did do, I loved Thrawn's. I loved his eyes.
Yeah. What's funny too is I don't know if you've seen. There's a lot of toys that it's so clear that bunch of things, a bunch of things that because Lucasfilm always sends different things to Hasbro and the different toy companies before the release. That's why sometimes it's real limited. Like for Andor, there wasn't much because they didn't really send much to Hasbro for like Andor. But Ahsoka got a lot. But the thing is, it's so clear that they sent like set pictures because there's the bust that came out of Thrawn where he has just the red contacts and the white eyes, and it's like disgusting. And then for Jason Syndulla, his hair is edited in post to be green. But on the Lego set, it's brown because on set, the set pictures, his hair is brown.
That's another little piece that I loved, is Jason's hair was like, I honestly think the green worked perfectly, unlike Hera's green. Hera's green's a little crazy, but Jason's green hair was perfect. Honestly, the glow up of Jason, you don't hear anybody complaining about the complete change in design of Jason. Ain't nobody complaining about that change.
Yeah. Was Jason's hair really made green in post? It was, and you can also kind of see it in parts too, like around, especially in his intro scene where the background's like, they're in like Home 1 and it's all white and stuff. So, yeah, I guess that's something that will be seen in the behind the scenes. But I know I know 2 costume designers on Ahsoka.
Oh.
Yes, there were some interesting things there. Depending on what time I talk to Austin, sometimes they have Thrawn eyes. That is very true, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
It's not fair how fast Marvel figures come out in comparison to Star Wars.
Austin's
Do you want to know why that is?
Why?
Do you know why that is? Because Star Wars is incredibly backed up ever since COVID. That's why they'll announce a figure and it won't come out for like 9 months. Because they have it all planned out, but everything is still being made and produced. And so they're like 9 months behind on everything.
I want to show.
And also with Marvel, they send like figures, or they send the, what's it called? The concept art.
Look how cool this is. It's a big old door. I don't know how it's going to stay up, though.
Yeah.
What was I?
It's wild. It was convincing. I think that show is going to be so interesting to learn about if they actually share some of those weird inconsistencies from production to post. Yeah. I really want to know what happened with all this Anakin and Ahsoka stuff. I know we've talked about it a lot,
Oh,
Scotty.
before it was even like well, I guess it wasn't really confirmed, but I have to be missing a bag or something. I have one of these pieces, and it says I need 4.
That is not good. That is not good.
Continue. Sorry. I'll work on this on my own.
Yeah, like Murph says, stop eating pieces, Scotty.
It's Star Wars Sublight. They're the ones eating the pieces. They like them, not me.
Right. No, but with Anakin and Ahsoka,
There's some...
you know Cobalt on Twitter,
Yes.
right? So he's also friends with a bunch of people that do costume stuff. And he posted on Twitter and then got in trouble and deleted it.
Isn't he like a kid?
What?
Isn't he like young?
He's like 17, but people that DM him don't know that.
That's true.
Because he's just nice to the people and asks questions.
I mean, don't
But he
get
got
me
in trouble
wrong.
for posting this and deleted it.
I'm not trying to discredit him.
wrong.
I'm not trying to discredit him or anything, but I was like, yeah, that was kind of my thing. I was like, is that the best idea to be DMing like a minor about set
I don't
things?
think that I don't think that they know. It's not
Yeah.
like it's in his bio or anything. But he posted this thing, got in trouble for it, deleted it, that apparently the stuff with the stuff with Ariana and Hayden Christensen was filmed like 4 months before. He was talking about a month before, and I was like, that's not possible.
This ain't the
because
Rise of
that's the
Skywalker.
SAG stuff. Right, and also because the SAG strikes were going on.
Oh, that's
I'm like,
true, yeah.
But then he was like, no, sorry, it was like 4 months. But he deleted it because the person that told him to it, which I was like, why did you do this? The person that told him, who has like Lucasfilm costume designer in their bio and shit,
Who's
responded
never-
and was like, can you delete this?
And they're never
I
gonna
was
give
like-
them information again.
I was like, why didn't you? But I was also like, why didn't you DM him and say take it down? Because now we know it's true. Because it's
Yeah.
exactly like that other guy. What's his name? Jake Namier, where he gets in these arguments. He's a Lucasfilm employee that starts getting in these arguments and starts leaking shit. And I'm like, it literally says in your bio that you work for Lucasfilm. What are you doing? I've seen that guy's tweets. The stuff he's been pointing out is so interesting. The clone armor, like, dang. Yeah, he's really knowledgeable of all that stuff.
I don't know how either, because
knows every little
there's exactly, there's so many little things that I'm like, I would have never noticed, and I wouldn't say I envy those people, because like I'm also very I guess tedious would be the best way to describe it, but like little things like that, when I'm doing something, I will notice and they'll stress me out. So I imagine I could be into something where I'd get stressed out about little things like that. But I'm also like, it's crazy that these people know all these little tiny things about this armor. Like, it's really cool, but I'm like, where do you keep that information in your brain? And how do I make space for little things like that?
Yeah, well, I think too, like, if you look at his Twitter, he has like literally every picture ever of all these clones.
Yeah.
And the Grand Inquisitor and things like that. But it's weird seeing like the different perspectives too, because you know I'm super into lightsabers, right?
Yes.
And the Graflex lightsaber, it's with all the sabers in the original trilogy, besides like Luke's lightsaber, which never really changed. The
Oh my
green
god.
one.
I'm an idiot. I didn't mess up my pieces. I'm not missing any. I'm gonna show it on camera so everyone can see how dumb I am. So if you look, I'll bring it closer to the camera. So if you look here, this piece is longer, and then this piece is shorter on this side. And my dumbass thought they were the same size. And I'm like,
Yikes.
so then I put two pieces. I put like a 4-peg piece and then a 2-peg piece on the other side, because I was like, I need to make sure they match. And I'm like, I'm missing pieces. God.
I do that all the time, especially because they're so similar, and because it's like a 3-piece. No, it's like a 4-piece looks like a 5-piece.
Legos are hard, okay? I'm an adult. I have to worry about my mental health. I can't focus on Lego inconsistencies.
But speaking of consistencies, it's weird because I've always loved the differences of like the Graflex lightsaber in all the movies and like why they exist behind the scenes and like what's maybe some of the in-universe explanations for it, which there's not really a lot. But I'm always obsessed with the differences and it never really bothered me. And like same with like Darth Vader's costume, it's different in literally every movie, and it's
Oh
not
yeah.
because it's supposed to be a different costume. It's just because they didn't have the original props. So I don't know, things like that don't bother me, but I'm also not gonna be the type of person that's like, shut up. I don't care, so you shouldn't care. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No, I get that. I'm just
because that's how he be getting hate.
And that's the thing is when it comes to online and with our opinions, people will argue that of course social media has made it so anybody feels like they can give their opinion like a critic. And I think there's merit to that, but there's also like if you just want to point something out, there's no need to like hate on somebody just because you don't care about something that they care about. Like if somebody wants to point out the inconsistencies on specific armor, then let them do that. Like it's something they're interested in, so I'm not going to tell them not to talk about it. And if you don't care, don't interact. If you don't care, then why are you mad? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like back in the day, I used to spread the anti-Clone Wars Dooku agenda a lot, where I was like, Clone Wars Count Dooku is not Count Dooku. It's a whole different character, and it's so clear that he's just kind of written in there like
to be the
when
villain.
They need someone to be, yeah, like when they need someone to be like the villain, like a really dark twisted villain, they have him come in instead
because
of
they
using
can't
him
do
for like
they can't
nuance.
do Sidious for that. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, you're right, because everyone was like Tales of the Jedi Dooku and Clone Wars or Dooku are two completely different characters, which they're not.
They are.
They're not wrong.
More nuance. There's so much more nuance in Tales of the Jedi, but also in both Legends and canon, which I know it's not. You can't hold filmmakers to the books all the time, but I don't know. I just always thought it was more interesting because, you know, the whole story of him leaving the Jedi Order but still being able to visit, and the whole thing with him being the Count of Sereno, and how does that work in like being a Jedi and now being a Sith? Like, I don't know. It was I just feel like he was more like what they're doing with Balin's skull now. I think that they could have explored more with that with Count Dooku, but now it's like he's just kind of a baddie at this point. You can't go back and be like, well,
I mean, and that's the thing, because if you think about it too, in Clone Wars, that's the only time we see him with Sith eyes too. And it's far and few in between. Ooh, sorry, I probably just got really loud. It's far and few in between, but like that's the only time we see him with it. Because that's one of the big arguments too. Everyone's like, how come Count Dooku doesn't have Sith eyes? And in reality, it's probably because Christopher Lee was too old and couldn't do the contacts. But like, yeah. But I also kind of like the reasoning of, and I think what they say, and correct me if I'm wrong, is just like he wasn't that immersed in the evil of it all. At certain points, he still thought he was doing what was best for the galaxy. Kind of like, you know who this sounds like? It sounds like our conversation on the podcast that we just had about Thrawn.
Yes, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Yeah. I don't know. I like the more nuanced characters, but
I love a complex villain.
Yeah, people don't like it. People don't like that stuff because I don't know. People get really weird. Like if you are like a fan of an Imperial character, a lot of people are like, a lot of people take that as you like supporting the Empire's ideals and whatnot.
Like, you're a fascist, and I get the argument. Because let us all remember at the beginning of Andor, and I always bring this up, when we were all like, come on, Dedra, come on, girl boss. And then she started getting too into the fucking fascist shit. And then we were like, ooh, never mind. Like, no, Dedra. Ooh, we hate you now. And I think it's Chelsea, one of our co-hosts, that'll always say, like, this person girl bossed too close to the sun, and that was Dedra. She got too into that fascist shit, and I was like, well,
Yeah.
don't like you anymore. Sorry, girl. Bye. Can't support you.
Yes. Park says Dooku was the one guy the Clone Wars really should have done more with. How many other Sith wore pajamas? Bro was not your typical Sith.
That's
yeah, exactly.
So true. So true. I just
humanized.
You said he was more what?
Humanized. He was wearing those pajamas.
Honestly. And on top of that, I was gonna say I just saw some of those episodes too from when I was getting some clips for my scary Star Wars ranking video I'm putting out tomorrow. Any of the times that like the Night Sisters are trying to kill Count Dooku, like that whole arc, they put him through some shit, and he's just like trying to chill in his house and go to sleep at one point, and Mother Talzin like bursts out of his chest. It's so funny because the time when she's doing voodoo on him, literally he gets up from his desk and starts having like boils on his face because she's like putting the voodoo doll in like boiling water, and his Magna Guards, they didn't even animate them. They just stand there the whole time, and Count Dooku's like, ah! And he's like crawling on the floor and jumps out of his chair. The Magna Guards do not move. I'm like, damn, they really didn't want to animate those guards. And I'm like, I know they're droids, but like, if the person they're supposed to be programmed to protect seems like he's in distress, you would think they would be like, sir, what's going on? Right. Hello. No.
Right.
They
it
just
wasn't in the
stand there.
budget.
Nope.
Murph says, I wish they had just kept Maul through the prequels. General Grievous and Clone Wars Maul are very similar. Yeah.
Clone Wars General and Clone Wars Maul. That's the thing though with Maul. Maul is a complex character. They made him complex from the, in the Clone Wars after the fact. Where before, he was also just there to be a villain. You know what I mean? Oh, Austin froze again. I'll keep talking. Hi, Crystal. We are very far into the build. As you can see, I've essentially built this entire back half tonight. Oh, I think you're back, Austin.
I don't know why it keeps up, because nothing goes wrong on my end. So it's just like, I'll just be talking and you're like, oh, and I'm like, oh, interesting, I guess. I was saying that I feel like with Maul, though,
oh, they
at
make
least
him
in
complex,
the Phantom,
that's what I was saying. Yeah. Continue.
Yeah, but I also feel like, much like Dooku, Maul still had that basic structure in... Maul still had that basic structure in the Phantom Menace that they were able to build off on. Like, why is he so vengeful of the Jedi? And Dooku had the same thing, where it's like, why does Count Dooku literally tell Obi-Wan Kenobi the entire truth?
Oh my god, I know! He's like, what if I told...
But they never...
Oh my god, that Christopher Lee voice was so bad, I'm gonna try again. He's like, what if I... what if I told you the Republic was under the control of a Sith Lord? I don't know. That's my Christopher Lee. I hope everybody liked it. I'll be here for the rest of my life.
The way you gotta get into it, you gotta be like, no chocolate.
It's hard. You have to get like from the diaphragm and like real rumbly in your chest.
Because that's where I was first introduced to Christopher Lee.
Same.
Well, I guess no. Attack of the Clones was where, but
Star Wars, Count Dooku.
Willy Wonka's dad is one of his most iconic roles, in my opinion. Even more iconic.
Oh yeah.
More iconic than Gandalf. More iconic than Dracula.
More iconic than Dracula. Not on this channel. That'll get you blocked. That'll get you. Goodbye. I'm gonna disconnect.
No.
I forgot. Yeah, his dad's like a dentist. Honestly, Murph,
yes.
They have such a great voice actor for Count Dooku. I could never hold a candle to the person that does his voice. It's very good.
I'm behind on the chat. Behind. Hello, Crystal. Welcome. Heard Peter Jackson talk about Christopher Lee. I'm also joking, Murph, but like, what do you think his?
I can't decide if I should continue building for just the next 40 minutes and just take it to midnight. What do we think? Let me know in the chat.
Frozen.
Yeah, you were. I can hear you. There you go. You're
Why
back.
is that happening? I don't know why that keeps happening.
I might continue the build, but if you have to go, you are more than fine to go because I know you're tired.
Oh, I don't have to go.
Oh, then I'm gonna continue. Continue.
Everybody's saying they're down for VC. By everybody, I mean Murph and Crystal.
Crystal said that was an Austin impression.
Crystal's still down for VC. We're besties in real life, so I understand Crystal on a telepathical level now.
Excuse me. I would never want to intrude. I could never.
So, Ted's down.
Y'all are gonna be the death of me. Oh, you know what? We do need to end the stream now because, and it's so funny because I always laugh when I'm watching it or like I pop into a Star Wars Explained stream because they're all like, we have to go cook dinner, so we're gonna go now, and I'm literally like, my stomach is growling audibly, and I was so worried that the mic was gonna pick it up, and I'm like, actually, yeah, I need to go eat dinner. I need to go cook dinner and eat it. So I think this is a good stopping point. I got through bags 5 and 6, which was what I planned to do. The ship has grown an additional third, so now we've got, I think this is the full length, and as y'all can see, like, we have a whole new angle and everything. Like, it's crazy. I can't build it without doing the aerial angle anymore because it's just too gigantic. But I don't mind this setup. I hope everybody thinks it looks okay and that they enjoyed it.
Yes.
And I don't have any missing pieces. So,
Yeah,
love that.
Struggling there for a bit.
Poor Lego. I talked so much shit about Lego this stream. I was like, I'm missing this. I'm missing 4 of these. No. Lego, thank you. I appreciate you. Send me some other sets and I'll build them in the future. Anyways. But if you haven't already, please make sure to like the video. If you don't follow Austin already, I have their social media in the chat. But Austin, if you want to go ahead and let everybody know where to find you.
In the deepest pits of hell, according to the web.
Well, yeah,
I am
that's how we met. We met there.
Yes. On Instagram at SW Austin, Twitter SW Austin 0, on YouTube Austin SWE.
It's all in the chat.
That's it.
It's all in the chat.
Yeah.
If you don't follow them already, go ahead and do so. They've got an Olivia Rodrigo video coming out soon that I know everybody is excited for. And if you don't already follow me on social media, you can find me at Scotty Holiday SW. My spooky Star Wars top 10 scariest aspects of Star Wars video will be out at 9 a.m. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be great for spooky season, so make sure you check it out if you haven't already, or, well, when this video comes out. And thanks everybody for hanging out. Have a great night, and may the Force be with you.
Bye.
I forgot to turn my mouse on. Okay, now for real. May the Force be